You don't have to take my word for it. You can take President Obama's word for it. President Obama said that he designed Obamacare after Romneycare and basically made it Obamacare.
Don't you love the old highlight tapes? Welcome back to The Ed Show. That was an instant classic from former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty when he used the term Obamacare. Now Republican governors are whining about Obamacare, and Governor Bobby Jindal, Louisiana, slipped up on a GOP conference call today.
There's only one candidate, Governor Romney, who's committed that he will repeal the Obamacare tax increase.
Governor Jindal has also made clear that he will not implement parts of the Affordable Care Act. Here in Louisiana, look, we refuse to set up the exchange. We're not going to start implementing Obamacare. Does Governor Jindal realize that there are three choices on setting up the insurance exchanges? The state can do it alone, or it can be done by the federal government, or the federal government will do it for you. Okay? You can coordinate with the federal government, or they'll do it alone. Now, as for Medicaid expansion, do Republican governors really want to deprive their citizens of benefits they are entitled to? And hold it right there. You mean to tell me that no one in Louisiana pays federal tax? And when there's a law passed by the Congress, a representative government, they shouldn't have it. Their governor should jump in and do a government takeover and deprive them. Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin says that he won't phase in the health care law until after the November election. Florida Governor Rick Scott says it's unlikely Florida will expand its Medicaid program, even though the federal government is covering most of the cost. Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, who cannot run for re-election under state law in Virginia, well, he won't give a firm answer on whether or not he would accept the expansion of federal Medicaid funds. Governor Chris Christie in New Jersey said the Supreme Court opinion gives states a ray of light on whether to accept Medicaid funds, but he would not offer a firm decision yet. Governor Rick Snyder of Michigan says he's evaluating his options. He's not really sure whether he wants to shaft his citizens anymore or not. Then there's former half-term governor Sarah Palin, urging governors to do this.
I would like to see governors be tough and opt out of this and exert our 10th Amendment rights and tell President Obama, who does not understand the Constitution, he even being a constitutional lecturer and supposed scholar in our Constitution, not understanding, probably never reading nor absorbing the 10th Amendment to understand that states have rights.
How about that? Sarah Palin questioning how smart Barack Obama is. Let's turn to Robert Reich, former Secretary of Labor under the Clinton administration, now a professor of public policy at UC Berkeley and author of the book Beyond Outrage. Mr. Reich, good to have you with us tonight. Your take on these Republican governors as they are certainly getting a fraternal order put together to refuse benefits to their constituents after they have paid federal taxes in their working lifetime. What do you make of all of this?
Well, it's obviously a political ploy right now to make the president look bad and to reassert what they want the public to believe are states' rights. But these same governors, somewhere along the line, I mean, not too far in the distant future for some of them, they're going to have to face their constituents and explain to their constituents why they are going to say to lower middle class and working class people in their states that otherwise would not get any coverage at all, we are not going to allow you to get coverage, even though the federal government is going to pick up the entire tab for the first 3 years and 90% of the tab after that. Well, let them face the voters and let the voters do their will.
So I know you're in California, and California has some issues financially. 100% of this Medicaid expansion would be paid for by the federal government for the first 3 years, and then the fourth year it's 90%, and it slowly comes down after that. Now, how can states turn this down? How can they turn over a 3-year period to their constituents and go through an election cycle and say, I did the right thing by denying you health insurance through Medicaid?
Well, it's going to be very, very hard, Ed. What the governors might try to do, the Republican governors, is essentially the same thing that Mitt Romney is doing, and that is using the big lie. And as we saw in Wisconsin with regard to Governor Walker, Scott Walker there, if the big lie is well-financed and you have a huge amount of money supporting the reiteration of a big lie, such as, well, we don't want Medicaid here, even if it's supported by the federal government because it'll come with too many strings and blah, blah, blah. Well, those kinds of big lies, when stated over and over again and supported by enough money, people might start believing, but still it is risky for Republican governors to do this. Their constituents are not dumb. And again, the working class people that do not now qualify for Medicaid do need coverage. They know they need coverage. They are not stupid. They know that voters in other states who are working class people will get Medicaid coverage under the Affordable Care Act. And so they are going to hold these governors accountable.
Here's more from Sarah Palin, some of her famous talking points on this.
A lot of the emails and texts use the word treachery in the messages, and I tend to agree with that term used to describe what happened today. So if Obama is reelected, well, America, you will no longer recognize the country that today you truly love and can enjoy all of its freedom and prosperity and security if Obama is reelected.
So when 30 million more people get health insurance, we won't recognize the country. There's a bright one for you. I want to point out that these insurance exchanges will help people, and if the states don't do it, the federal government will. So Republican governors would just be throwing a useless temper tantrum by not implementing these things themselves.
And also, Ed, let's be clear what these exchanges are. What they are essentially is devices to allow consumers to get more and better comparative information about private health insurance plans so that people can exercise their rights as consumers to be informed. I mean, this is what Romney was saying when he was justifying Obamacare when it was passed 4 years ago in Massachusetts. I mean, Romney really can't possibly say that insurance exchanges are bad.
Yeah.
He was one of their big advocates, nor can a lot of the other governors when people actually take a look at the logic of these things.
And Mr. Reich, we got to congratulate you. You're one of the very few in the talking head circuit that got it right. You said that the Supreme Court would uphold the law, and that's exactly what happened. Congratulations. You called it. Thanks so much.
Well, I'm going to call it in the election. Barack Obama is going to win re-election.
All right. The right-wing meltdown over health care continues. It will energize the Tea Party. Will it? I think it will. Next, Van Jones will weigh in on the reaction to yesterday's ruling. It's rather comical. And yesterday's historic health care ruling prompted a historic night on late-night comedy. We'll bring you all the best laughs. Stay with us.
It's a tax.
It's a tax. It's a tax.
It's a tax.
Senator Akbar is right. It's a tax.